Yeah, today we'll see how to create a bookmark in HTML. Bookmarks can be useful if a web page is very long. To create a bookmark, first we create the bookmark, then add a link to it. When the link is clicked, the page will scroll down or up to the location with the bookmark. Here simply what we can say that what actually a bookmark is. Suppose the web page contains multiple number of pages, and if you want to go to a particular line or a particular location in that particular page, that can be possible by creating a hyperlink and then giving a ID to that. So ID is the attribute that is used to create a bookmark, and we can use any tag for that. Either we can use heading tags or paragraph tag. See, in this particular example, it is h2 id is equal to c4 within double quotes and chapter 4 and slash h2. So this chapter 4 is identified by the id attribute c4 as a value. Now if you see the example of how to create a bookmark, you have written HTML, then body, p paragraph tag a href is equal to hashtag c4 jump to chapter 5. So this a href is equal to hash c4 will create a hyperlink to the text jump to chapter 4, and then we are closing the anchor tag and then we are closing paragraph tag. Similarly, in the next line again we have written a paragraph, so we used a p tag. In that we have created another hyperlink with a reference number as c10, and the text is jump to chapter 10. So with these two lines, two hyperlinks are created, and the reference number for that hyperlinks is given as, for first one c4 and for second one it is c10. Next we have used some bunch of heading tags and paragraph tags. So h2 tag we have used, we have written chapter 1 and close h2. In the paragraph, this chapter explains blah 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 and slash p. Then again h2 we have written chapter 6, chapter 7, chapter 8, chapter 9, chapter 15, chapter 16, chapter 17, chapter 18. So like this we have written multiple number of chapters. After chapter 1 we have missed here 2, 3, 4 and 5. The chapters are missing here, we have to add that here. So like this we can pump any number of headings or text. Why actually we are pumping is, compulsory the web page should be of multiple pages. If it is not multiple pages, it is only single page, even though if you are trying to click the hyperlink or try to access that particular bookmark, it won't have an effect. So to have an effect to the program, so what we are doing is we are pumping lot of content into that particular page. Here we have missed with chapter 2, 3, 4 and 5, and after 9 we have missed 10, 11, 12, 13. For that what we have to do is we have to write h2 here, h2 space id is equal to c4 we have to write. Then for h2 id is equal to c10. So then only this particular 2 will be activated. when those are activated, see in this output we got jump to chapter 4, jump to chapter 10 as the two hyperlinks has been created, and the text what we are chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. So this is the output what we get when we execute the program above with two hyperlinks, jump to chapter 4. This we got as hyperlinks because we have created anchors, or we have created hyperlinks, and when we click jump to chapter 4 hyperlink, what happens is this chapter 4 will be activated. So in this particular side, if you see, we are unable to see that two hyperlinks, chapter 1, 2, 3 and 3. This content we are unable to, because the bookmark has been activated to chapter 4. So that's why from 4 to 15, 16 we are getting. Now if we again click here jump to chapter 10 hyperlink, if you just scroll up and then click, if you click jump to chapter 10, what happens is this chapter 10 will come above. Means that chapter 10 bookmark is getting activated, and whatever the remaining text is there, that is displayed. So like this, getting to a particular location or getting to particular topic, we use bookmarks. Mainly where actually we come across this bookmark in many web pages is mostly when we have a lot of pages in one website, you may come across click here to go down, click here to go up. So those hyperlinks are being created mostly in the websites. So when we click that particular hyperlink, we will be able to go to the top of the page, and when you click the hyperlink sorry, we can go down to the particular page. So like moving or scrolling from one location to another location in the same page, we use bookmarks. So this is about use of bookmarks. Next we will see another tag of HTML, how to use images. So HTML images syntax we'll see. For that we use img tag. Here img tag is used to embed an image in a web page. Images are not technically inserted into a web page. Images are linked to web pages. So the img tag creates a holding space for the referenced image. The img tag is empty, it contains attributes only and does not have a closing tag. And the img tag has two required attributes, that is src, it specifies the path to the image, and alt, it specifies the alternate name. If you see a simple example of image tag, we have written here HTML body, and we have used h2 tag, HTML images, to display that. Here img is the tag. We have used src. Src means source, from which source we have to take. So here we have to use a valid image formats like .jpg or .jpeg, .png, like that. We have to use a valid image extension, and compulsory that particular image should be available in our current working directory. If that image is not available in current working directory, we will not get the image. So that is our source, and alt is alternate to that particular, here just giving one name. And here we have use some more attributes of img tag like width and height. What should be the width of the image and what should be the height of the image that we have given. Then we have closed body tag, then close HTML tag. Now let us see what will be the output for this. See, this is the text what we have given, HTML image, and this is the image we got it from the source. This is how we get. Now if you see about the alt attribute, what actually the use of the alt attribute in img. The required alt attribute provides an alternate text for an image. If the user for some reason cannot view it because of slow connection, an error in the source attribute, or if the user uses a screen reader, like that, means what the img tag should do if there is no image. Actually you have to put the image, you have to check the availability of the image in our working folder, but if it is not there, what it should do. For that we use alt. So the value of alt attribute should describe the image. img src is equal to img underscore chania.ahp. This is a source we are taking, the image file we are taking, and alternate to that, if that image is not available, what we are doing, it's the flowers in Chania. This is the description for that particular image. So if the browser cannot find an image, it will display flowers in Chania as the message. Now if we see some more attributes that the image uses is already we have seen. Width and height is the attributes which we use with img tag. Here image src is equal to img underscore girl.jpg, alt girl in a jacket is the alternate name given if the image is not available in the current working location. And for style, width we have given as 500 pixel and height we have given as 600 pixel. And alternatively we can use like this, instead of style we can simply write width is equal to 500, height is equal to 600. Now we'll see simple example, image with alt, HTML body, h2, HTML image as the thing we are displaying, enclosing heading tag, image src is equal to img underscore girl. This is the image should be available in our working folder, and alt is equal to girl in a jacket. This is the alternative name given if the particular image is not being available to the browser. While executing, if it is not available, it will show girl in a jacket, and that if it is available, it will just show the image on the browser with width is equal to 500 and height is equal to 600. And then we have closed body and closed HTML. So now if you execute this HTML image, this is what we have written in h2, so we got HTML image. Now this is the image of a girl which we are trying to display onto the browser. Here the width of the image is 500 and the height is 600. Now if there is no image, what happens? There is no image. What I have done is I have just here changed the img source is equal to actually image name is img underscore girl, but I have renamed with some wrong name. So when we are running the program, while it is searching for the file img underscore girl, it won't find because the name which available in our source folder is doesn't match with our code written. So when there is no match, what it will do is it doesn't show the image. So when it is not showing the image, it should print the alternate name, which is girl in a jacket. So that is what it is showing, HTML image girl in a jacket. So image is not shown, only the message what we have given the alternate name, that is being shown here. So that's the purpose of ALT in image. Now how to give background images. A background image can be specified for almost any HTML element. Background image on a HTML element. To add a background image on an HTML element, we use HTML style attribute and the CSS background image properties. Now adding a background image on HTML, if you see the example, here we have used one more tag called div, where style is equal to background image, and this is the example, background hyphen image colon URL. Here URL, in URL we have to give the image name which is available in our current directory. So here the image name is img underscore girl .jpg, then semicolon and double quotes close and closing the div. HTML body h2 background image, closing h2. Now a background image for a div element is the message we are giving for the background. Div background image URL. Now you can specify background images for any visible element. Now see, this is the example. Background image, div style is equal to background image. I have given a URL. This is the text we have written with the break tag. You can specify background images for any visible HTML element. In this example, the background image is specified for a div element. By default, the background image will repeat itself in the direction or directions where it is smaller than the element, where it is specified. Browser window to see how the background image behaves, and then close the div tag. And p tag, we have written background image for a p element. P style is equal to background image. URL we have given img girl. You can specify background images for any visible. So this is what the text we have written in p tag, and then at last we have closed p. So in paragraph we have written something that matter will be displayed on the image which is available. So if you see the output, the first one we have used div element. So for that image underscore girl, this particular text whatever we have written here is shown on the image, and for the background image for p element also, for p paragraph, this is what we got. So for the background we got background image as well as we got the text what we are trying to put onto that particular image. This is about your background image. Now we will see HTML forms. How to create a form. Mostly we use forms to enter our username and password in and submit that. We use in mostly all web pages where there is a login credentials needed, where we try to enter our information. So an HTML form is used to collect user input. The user input can then be sent to the server for processing. So for that we use form as an element. So this is the tag used, form tag is used to create forms. So here the form element defines a form that is used to collect user input. So syntax is form and the form elements, then closing form tag. Next, an HTML form contains form elements. There are many elements supported by HTML. Form elements are different types of input elements like text field, checkboxes, radio button, submit button, and many are there. Among them are the first input element. Input element is the most important form element. It is used to display several ways in the type attribute. So this example is input type is equal to text. This defines input type is equal to, it defines a single line text. Now few more, this is like defines a single line input field for text input. Example, if you write a form with two text input fields, form label is another element in form. Label for, the syntax is label space for is equal to label name within double quotes, first name colon closing label br. Input type is equal to text, so whatever input we give in a form is of type text, and for that input we are giving a id called fname, and name we are giving as fname, and then we are giving a break tag so that after a label and a input box or a text box get in a new line. Then label for is equal to l name, you'll get last name colon, then closing label closing br. This label element, what actually this label element, it notices the use of label element in the example above. The label tag defines a label for many form elements. So directly, if you are having only input fields with no label before that, what to enter? See, if you write enter username or username like that, then only we will enter username. If there is nothing message given or nothing label given for that box, what to write? So the user get confused for that. So we go for a label. When the user will see that particular label, he will just, okay, this is what I have to enter. He will come into that particular conclusion. So that's why this label element is useful for screen reader users, because the screen reader will read out loud the label and the user is focused on the input element. So the label element also helps user. You have radio buttons. So instead of input type is equal to text, what you write? Input type is equal to radio. If you are using checkboxes, you will write input type is equal to checkboxes. So if you write radio means it defines a radio button. What actually is radio button? A radio button is a simple thing. It's you'll get a circle, small circle, and then followed by some text. And when we are giving radio button, only the user selects one. Like mostly we use these radio buttons to select the gender while the registration of a page is being done. Select your gender, then you will write, will click either male or female. So there we use radio buttons. So if you see an example how to use radio button, input type is equal to radio, id is equal to male, name is equal to gender, value is equal to male, label for is equal to male, slash label br. So when we write this, we'll get a circle followed by male as the text. Next, another thing for a type is submit. So input type is equal to submit means it's create a button actually, or it defines a button for submitting the form to a form handler, where when we click that particular button, it will go to the server. There it will checks the data and then we'll get a response from the server and then displays the content. Like if you see the username password, if you are opening in any, if you are clicking gmail.com and it shows username and password, we'll write username there and then we'll type the password and then we'll press login. This login button, when we press, what happens is it will go to the server, it checks the details of username and password. If both are matches, then only we'll get the control and it will display the page. Similarly, here that type is called submit is used to create a button. So when we click that button, the form handler, typically a page on the server with a script for processing input data. The form handler is specified in the form's action attribute. So action is being performed when we click that, and after performing action, that action is listened and then processed, and then after processing it will get the results. And we are even having actions in our form element. The action attributes define the action to be performed when the form is submitted. So after clicking the button, what action should be performed, that also we have to mention. Usually the form data is sent to a page on the server when the user clicks on the submit button. See, whenever we are clicking on it, will be sent. If we are not clicking, nothing action is being performed. No action, no information. So here mostly the action page is a PHP file, or in simple we can give a HTML file also, or a JavaScript file. And we are having another attribute called target attribute. The target attribute specifies if the submitted result will open in a new browser tab, a frame, or in the current window. The default value is _self, which means the form will be submitted in the current window. And to make the form result open in a new browser, we use the value _blank. In the previous video also we have seen that there are some target attributes. If you are using _blank, it will open in a new tab or a new window. If it is self, it is open in the same, or it is, if you are using top also, it will be open in the same. So when you use _blank, the result will be open in a new window. Next, we have another attribute called method. So the method attribute specifies the HTTP method, get or post, to be used when submitting the form data. Example, if you use the get method when submitting the form, where actually write is, we will write it in the form element. Form action is equal to, you have to perform some action. When I are clicking, it will activate this particular action _page. And what type of request we will get from HTTP is, the HTTP means hypertext transfer protocol. So it will activate that HTTP